I'm really wanting to talk about something today that is troubling and hard for me, and I want to handle it in the best way possible, so bear with me for a minute, because it's taken me a few days to wrap my head around something where my head and heart fight. My heart understands that we lost an incredible warrior, and it's really sad. I'm still really sad about this. This is a circumstance where somebody was injured in a very harmless, wholesome, all-American way, and they have been fighting for a year and a half. It is beyond my comprehension to try to act like I understand that. I just want you to know I understand a slice of this whole pie. I get this much of it. And I want to kind of just speak up for the parts of this story that I feel like people have a right to hear, and you would want to know this. So that would be things like, somebody fought for 17 months, day in, day out, not a 1 minute of one day, not a second passed when they weren't experiencing tremendous pain. And living through burn injuries is cruel. I mean, these are just very cruel injuries, and what it takes to survive, also cruel. So I want to take a minute and recognize a few things. I want to recognize everybody that was a part of keeping this person's strength going. Certainly her family, her parents, everybody in her extended family. I know how much the ripples work. Anybody that grew up with this person, anybody that was affected, all those that knew this person in their life, in their academics, in their social world, everybody in that community. I really just, I'm heartsick. I know this could have been prevented. I know where the innocence is and where the true fault lays. I know that, and I'm sure you can appreciate this would never have happened if we could have just gotten common sense to prevail, which is, my shirt is really just about common sense. You know, I'm sad. I'm trying not to step over the lines here. I want to just delicately hold up everybody that is grieving. And I'd like to say that there's a ripple effect. You know, the young person that passed, ripple affected. I haven't met them personally. I haven't spoken to their family directly. But I feel like part of my fight is going to continue because of that person's strength, of everybody that helped fight for 17 months in a hospital, in a burn unit. I want your help. We've got to stop this. There's never been one of these cases ever. It's not a single case has been documented when a flame arrestor is on the opening of the container. So please know, flammable fuel containers should be required to have the flame arrestor put back on. It's not new. I am past trying to get people to understand the common sense. I want to go back to the empathy. The empathy is, I think this young person had a very strong impact and their life has a lot of meaning. I want to speak to that. I want those that are grieving to know, like, look, I have so much respect. I don't know what I can do to help you, but I can tell you that I'm here, and if you need somebody to talk to that's been through this much of it, I'm here for you, and I would be open to what I can do to be more supportive. There's several things that I have done in my own capacity behind the scenes that I don't want to speak to unless I'm speaking directly to a family member. They could know privately, but it's not for public consumption. This is so important that we all respect the type of grief that must be going on. I mean, all grief is terrible. Everybody's death matters. But this one is very touching. A young person, so innocent, so thriving with life, so horrifically injured, spending day after day after day in countless procedures in very hard circumstances. That's true grit. And I really want to speak to that true grit. And I want that family to know you didn't have long enough. You should have had longer. I know this could have been, again, let me stick to what I can say I know. I know that I have tremendous respect. I have no words to comfort. I can just say, I love everything about what I've come to know and to understand and what I see as fierce warrior behavior. And I want you warriors to know, take your time, grieve. I want to protect your privacy. I don't want to give out details. I just hope that whenever you find your way to meet me, that I care. And this is real and we can solve it, but at the right time. I can't go backwards and undo what's been done. I'm so sad. I'm just really sad. I can't imagine what you're going through, and I feel there's a connection that I can't understand, and maybe that's why my head and my heart are arguing so much. I'm sorry that you've lost a true warrior, because we all are learning from the experience of what you guys have gone through, and it has meaning and it matters. And every day you fought, you found the strength that gives me perseverance. So thank you for the lessons I've been able to learn, no matter how hard they've been, no matter what. I wish I could do better, sooner, faster, and smarter. But this is a fight, and we're in it. And we're in it to make sure that we protect people. So not your turn to burn. Is it because we've got consumer products that they took the safety guard off of? And keep in mind, there's never been a case where it's failed. If the safety guard is required, if it's on the opening, we don't have these injuries. It is required for everybody in a work environment. It's required for everybody that is in military, combat, non-combat, contractor, active reserve, veteran. The only place we don't require it is when we hand it to the consumers or we put it on the shelf. So these are the burn injuries that happen anytime somebody's tipping or pouring. If they don't have the little safety guard on the opening, these things cost a couple pennies during the manufacturing process. They work unbelievably well. It's a flashback arrestor. If you want to stop crime, you arrest the criminal. This stops the flame front from turning into an explosion. It absolutely works. It's so common sense. And I want to thank the people that I know that are in leadership that care deeply, because I've heard from some of them, I've met a few, and I know there are people tracking on this one. So for those reasons, I want to continue to say thank you and help me protect you. What can we do? Give me some feedback. What can we do to make this a public safety campaign where we make this about your health? Nobody should be burned alive when we can prevent it for a couple pennies. Nobody should face the gruesomeness and the cruelty when we can prevent it, when it can be stopped, when there are safety guards that work and they're on all types of fuel containers. So if you're doing a science experiment and you're using a fuel, if you're doing a social gathering where you're using a fuel, that could be a barbecue, a bonfire, a cookout. It could also be a social gathering with chafing dishes and you're refueling the chafing dishes with fuels. It could be in a lobby, a hotel, a backyard, any place where there's the ventless fireplaces where you use a flammable fuel. It could be gasoline properly used, gasoline containers are exploding by tipping and pouring, even when there's a firefighter refueling a chainsaw. Firefighter refueling a chainsaw. Severely burned. They're so well trained. They're out there to protect us, and they're getting burned, and we're not protecting them. We're not teaching them, hey, stop, check, protect. Make sure you've got a flame arrestor. Here's what you can do to help me today. Go to your garage. Open the gas can. Look inside of it. See if you see any type of a protective screen in the opening. Metal, plastic, doesn't matter. They're effective, they work. It doesn't matter if it's an ethanol, a methanol, a gas, a hybrid gasoline. You know, there's a lot of hybrid levels of gasoline. Please know we need flame arresters on all those containers. There are companies that containers on store shelves. You can go to Amazon. Check out the company called No Spill. NOSPILL. I am grateful. No Spill was the first ones that led the charge for public safety when everybody else was saving a nickel and saving the money. You know, I respect that. I want to raise up that example. That's a best in class. Let's talk about best in class. You know, there are times when we need to look at what we can do. Please save somebody today. Look around. Stop, check, and protect. Check the lighter fluid. If you open up the lid of a lighter fluid, if you see 3 small holes together, that's a flame arrestor. If you see one big one because it's a few years old, don't use it. Throw it away. They cost $3. This is the one, if you squeeze it and you let go, it can suck a flame inside the container and it will explode. Help me protect you. This is public safety. This is humanity. This is a primal fear. We all fear burns. We all have experienced a burn. We know what it feels like. Hot grease, a pizza oven. We know a sunburn. What we don't know is these explosion burns burn at several thousand degrees, plus or minus 3,000 degrees. That is horrific what it does to the human body. Let's make sure we get flame arresters required. Let's look out for our young ones. These are heavy, dense vapors. They go close to the ground. So a lot of the worst injuries are children. If I get injured in my lower extremities, it hurts like hell and I hopefully can survive it. But if you're a child, you're going to get hit in the upper extremities because of your height. You get hit in the upper extremities, it's going to hit your breathing, your airway. You just got to know how infinitely more complex it is when that happens. We need to protect everybody, young and old. The old have the hardest time overcoming these injuries. Old people succumb. The cruelty of it, the infection rates. Again, somebody died because their body couldn't handle, their organs couldn't take it anymore. But their spirit was strong, and I really want to point that out. That spirit is what I still am aware of. I feel like that's giving me determination, and I want anybody that loves that person to know that spirit is still alive. That spirit is still helping us to not forget, to remain diligent, to want to protect others, and to say, let's stop putting the fathers in jail, which happened, teachers in jail, it's happened. Why are we charging people for tipping or pouring? That's innocent when the safety guard has been removed. I hope that you'll help me so it's not your turn to burn. because I know what happens. Please think it over. Give us some feedback. Pass it on. Tell somebody. Care enough to do anything to stop this. Anything you can do. I'd be grateful. Thanks.